Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Tell Me More show. I'm really excited to be chatting with a longtime friend of mine, actually, and fellow entertainer, Kylie Adams-Collier. So good morning, Kylie.
Good morning, Kel-Anne. It's so lovely to see you.
It's great to see you too. Um, you're looking fabulous. I can see both of us have sort of changed our hairdos a little bit.
Yeah, that's what lockdowns do, and you just sort of, it's like you're in your little cocoon and you sort of come out and things change and yeah,
Yeah, very, very true. And the fact we couldn't get to a hairdresser the whole time as well.
yeah.
Help
I
change.
really love your hair like that. I love
Oh,
your hair like that. It's
thank
lovely.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, yes, I haven't had it cut since February 2020. So yeah, it just keeps growing. But
Wow.
I will have to go and get the ends trimmed very soon because it's getting a bit ridiculous. But thank you. Yeah, I love your hair like that. It looks really
Yeah,
lovely.
thank you.
Really lovely. I
Yeah,
love the color.
it's easy. It's
Yeah.
more natural.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
the color. It really suits you.
yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask you some questions today for everyone to get to know you a lot more. So, and I'll
Great.
probably find out some stuff that I don't know too.
You probably will.
We've known each other a long time.
I
It's
know.
I can't even remember. I mean, it had to be 20. Would it be 20 years or something like that? I mean, it has been a long time through our
It's
careers that
wow.
we've come across each other. I'm sure it'd have to be around that time. Yeah,
Yeah, it has been a while.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Where were you
Oh,
born? Yeah, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say that I remember having a gig with you at a retirement home with Radio Northern Beaches.
Yes,
Remember that on the
I
senior
do.
moment or two, and it would go live over the radio, and we'd sing to an audience. And I just wanted to do a shout out to my friends over there, and especially Michelle Holmes, very good dear
Yeah.
friend of mine. So
She sent her love
that's
to
for
you,
you.
actually. She
Oh,
sent her love
good,
to you, yeah, on Facebook yesterday.
very
She's
sweet.
lovely. Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, well, that's part of your life that we'll talk about. The radio part, we'll talk about that soon because that definitely has been a big part of your life. But yeah, we was
Yeah.
both singing that day, and it was a wonderful concept, wasn't it? To go into a retirement
Mm.
village, to have an audience, to sing to them,
Mm.
and then to have the radio station there putting it to air. It was a very unique situation, and yeah, I used to love doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very, very blessed, fortunate to be invited to perform on those shows. But to answer your question, um, I was born in Camperdown in Sydney
Yep.
in 1968, before they landed on the moon.
You didn't have to tell me when. That's
I'm very
okay.
proud of my age. I think every year is a blessing.
It is. It is. I totally agree. I used to not say my age, but now it's like if someone asks, I tell them. They don't believe me anyway, but I tell them. I'll be 65 actually on the 1st of November this year.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I've had
Wow.
people say, "Oh, what have you had surgery? What have you had done?" I thought, I've had nothing. I just use Dr. Luen's during the day and Nivea overnight. So,
There
but
we go.
you're very youthful looking too, Kylie. You are very youthful looking. For
The
if you're
lighting.
born in 68, you're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
Camperdown Children's Hospital.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah. That was
yeah,
before the landing on the moon, because I remember being at school watching that happening in 1969, I believe.
yeah, that's right. And we were living in North Curl at the time.
Nice.
When I was a baby, we lived in North Curl and then Coogee. And then when I was 4, we moved to Fernmount, just outside of Bellingen in northern New South Wales.
Oh, so that's when
Yeah.
you went to Bellingen. Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah. When it
Yeah.
flooded.
Oh, gosh. So you
Yeah.
you grew up there, went to school in Bellingen?
Yes. I grew up in Baker Street in Fernmount with the giant fig trees and a view of the Bellinger River and the Dorrigo Mountains, the best view in the valley. And we went to school, infant school, primary school, high school, all the way through. Same bus driver,
Oh my
all the way through in Bellingen. And yeah, great community. Yeah, it's a very special place. My sister still lives there and I miss it. It's always home to me.
Yeah, I can understand why. It sounds beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's very just an amazing place, the Bellinger Valley in between the coast and the Dorrigo Mountains. And yeah, lots of little valleys going out from town. And yeah, very special. The Promised Land. And now everybody knows about it. So it's lots of tourists go there now, which is great. So every shop is now a cafe. You can't get a park, but it's still a great place.
Yeah, that's what happens, isn't it? That people find out.
Secret got out.
Yeah. We live on the Central Coast, as you know, and when we've been here 22 years. When we moved to Umino 22 years ago, it was very different. There was a lot less people, a lot less traffic. Now, totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we actually have traffic jams now here on the coast. Yeah, we used to avoid those before, but it was only Sydney that you had the traffic jams. So how old were you when you left Bellingen? The Bellingen area? How old were you?
The first time I was 17
Yep.
and my father enrolled me in a full-time fine arts course at Seaforth Technical College. And I was pretty young and very green around the gills and moved to Newtown with my sister. Country girl moves to Newtown, the inner west, in the late 80s. It was a very different Newtown back then.
Whoa, yeah.
And I quickly discovered that, be street smart. And, I met a lot of friends through the pubs. I discovered pubs. And that if you played pool with friends, then, hey, life was pretty good, actually. That was when I started singing, was when I started drinking in pubs. That's what you do at that age. You make friends, start singing, start writing, and yeah, it was a good start. Good fun. A lot
What
of fun.
what an experience. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And when you said the arts school, what were you studying there?
I was studying drawing and painting and printmaking, sculpture, technical drawing, all sorts of things. But I got homesick and moved home after about a year, went back home, and then came back about a year after that when I was a little bit older and ready.
Ready for it. Yeah.
Ready for it.
Yeah.
ready to live in share houses, many share houses, and party and be around creative musical people and form bands and listen to bands and just be in a band.
Were you
It
interested in
was so
singing?
good. It was so good.
Sounds amazing. Were you
I was interested. Yeah.
interested in singing when you were at home though, before?
Oh, yeah. I when I was really little, I used to sing around the house and mimic people, and I was a bit of a character, a bit of a comic. I used to mimic mum's friends and put on shows and plays and write plays with my sister, and very creative. We grew up in a very creative household because when we were living there, the new settlers, the hippies, moved to town, and all of a sudden mum had all these friends that would be staying at our house and living and passing through and playing music. And it was a very musical household. And mum actually hosted a radio show on the local station, to Triple B FM, and she ran a jazz show for 25 years. So mum had this amazing record collection of all different styles of music and festivals and markets and amazing, thoughtful, creative people, broad-minded people. What a great community to grow up in, so much music around us. And in high school, I was in some of the 2 school musicals. Yes.
Oh, cool.
And so that was the beginning of being on the stage. And also the local community centre had a stage, and often my sister and I would get up and perform there as well.
So your sister sings too?
No, she didn't really follow it up. No. Yeah.
Oh, so were your parents, I know your mum had the radio show, but was she a musician or did she sing?
She did sing. She used to get up and sing with jazz bands.
Wow.
And she didn't sing professionally. I think she only sung once, or maybe a few times when she was a lot younger. But I do know that she was in the chorus for The King and I, which was on at the Orpheum Theatre in Sydney, in Mossman. Yeah, and there's a photo of her all sort of dressed up with the full makeup, and it's amazing. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
How funny. I was in the chorus with King and I when I was 15 because my mum was one of the wives and I was one of the children in the King and I. And it was done at, I'm trying to think where we did it. Rose Street Musicals was the musicals in Sydney that she was with. And we did it there was one we did at the TUW studios. Can't remember if it was that one or the next musical we did after that. But there was big venue, and Harry and Miller actually came to watch it, and he was going to work on it, and then something happened with it, and I think a few years later he ended up in jail or something. There was some weird thing happening with Harry and Miller at the time. I remember my grandmother saying something about he was in the correctional centre or something near Cessnock or something. It was something to do with Harry and Miller. I'll have to Google it to see what it was. But that was in between me being 15 and 18. Something happened to do with Harry and Miller.
Oh,
that would have been after he did Jesus Christ Superstar. Because I remember I went to that for my 15th birthday. I went to see Jesus Christ Superstar. But yeah, small world. It sounds like she was in a different I'm thinking, what year would that have been that your mum would have been in it? That would have been like way before I would have been.
Oh, it would have been in the 60s or 50s. Yeah. And actually, Mum was a Ouija. The Ouijies and Bodgies. My mother was a Ouija, and she was a dancer, and she was jive dancing 7 nights a week when she was young.
Oh my gosh.
She was having a really good time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What is that? And what about your dad? Was he into singing or playing instruments or anything?
No, but he really appreciated music. Yeah. And he was always really supportive of my music. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so you went back. You're 18 at this stage, I guess, and you're back in Sydney. So did you go back to live with your sister again, or you just like you said, you're in shared houses and all that sort of thing?
I think I've lived in about 7 share houses around Newtown, and usually full of a lot of people who would have a band in the lounge room, and it was so good because there were more venues then, and there were bands on, original bands, not concept bands, original bands on 7 nights a week, and it was great. It was really good for independent music back then. And I met a lot of people and started singing in bands. Started singing with a band called the Willows, and played at the Sandringham Hotel, which is an iconic venue for many, many years.
Yeah.
And went on from there to join the Snow Leopards on Waterfront Records in the early 90s.
Yeah, so tell us about that. I've watched the videos of that. Fantastic.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was a songwriting project. Bruce Begley was the songwriter, and he was from a really well-known band called the Honeys, and they had disbanded, and he wanted to continue recording and writing. So he pulled together Andrea Croft from the Honeys and Lisa Partington from the Rosemarys and me and Greg Atkinson from Big Heavy Stuff. So we each got to sing a couple of Bruce Begley's songs on an EP, on a vinyl EP.
Wow.
And we toured with that to Melbourne and Newcastle, Canberra, Sydney, played a lot of venues. We were live at the Wireless on Triple J,
Wow.
and we had a lot of airplay on Triple J at the time. And it was a really good experience working with his songs, and which eventually made it to an album, a CD, Sweet Sweet Dreams, a title track that I sang. And it was a time, the early 90s, was producing a lot of great independent bands. And of course, Bruce Begley and Andrea Croft were from Perth. So, a lot of people were coming over from Perth as well at the time. But the strange thing is, and sad actually, on the 21st of March in 1991, my father took his life, which was really sad. Yeah. And I've got a vinyl record, which was a test pressing from CBS, who pressed the vinyl. And on the label is the date that my dad died on this vinyl record.
Oh, my gosh.
Weird. So I was with the Snow Leopards. I had a three-month-old baby, touring, and I just kept singing. I wasn't going to stop, but there was this grief that I didn't work through. I just carried on singing, and because Dad had written me a letter with a check, and in the letter it said, "I'm really enjoying what you're doing. I support you. I will support you in any way I can. Hoping my health improves. Here's a check for singing lessons and to buy a car." And I thought, wow, thanks, Dad. And so I called him the next day, and of course he'd never answered the phone because he'd committed suicide. And it was shocking, and you wouldn't think that you would go through something like that. And I was only young. But in a way, that's, a lot of people say, "Kylie, you're doing too much." Well, I do. I go from one project to the next, or I have a few going at the same time, because I always remember that letter that Dad had sent me, that he supports me so much and believes in me and what I do. And I push myself. I feel I need to go, I better make something of myself because of Dad. So in my mind, he's there. He's going, "Come on, Kylie, I'm here. Go. Yeah. You can do it. I believe in you."
Yeah, still supporting you.
Dad's behind me. Yeah, pushing me along.
Yeah.
Sad though.
Yeah, that's a very good way to think of it.
He was an amazing man. He was a teacher. He was a school counsellor. He was a union man. He was in the Teachers Union, Teachers Federation. He used to be one of those men that would stand up on a ladder in the Dement in the park in Sydney, and that's when there used to be the speakers. And they would get up and they would speak, and little crowds would gather around and listen. Well, he was one of those men who would do that. He was a speaker, and he was a great speaker, and he was a great gardener. He planted thousands of trees on the properties that he owned. And, that was his legacy, all the trees that he planted in his lifetime. And the changes that he made, he was in the Hiroshima anti-nuclear party, he just, a great man.
Wow. Yeah. Sad. It's sad that, you said he had health issues as well. Were they health issues that could be rectified, or was it, very severe and he didn't think there was hope?
Well, I found out after he died that he had bipolar, manic depression.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my family thought it best that I don't know because I was pregnant at the time, and they meant well.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise that he was, so sad. Yeah.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah. But that's life, or not, but
Yeah. And we're talking more about those things these days. It doesn't have the stigma that it used to. That we're more aware of mental health now, which is, one of the journeys, as you know, I took in being a mindset coach, was to help people, so it doesn't get to that point. So I think I'm hoping that everybody being more educated in suicide prevention, that what happened with your dad is, on the decrease.
I hope so. And I've participated in your wonderful mindset coaching, Kel-Anne, and I really recommend it because you were so helpful. It was almost like you pressed the reset button and given me lots to work with, like this mantra that I repeat to myself every morning, and just, get back on to a positive thinking and a positive mindset. Absolutely brilliant.
No, thank you. Appreciate that, Kylie.
Really good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, okay, so we're finished. We're at the snow leopards. You've worked with them. So obviously everybody must have gone their own separate ways, and then you moved on to different projects. Is that what happened, or how did that one?
Lots of projects. Lots of projects. From then, I was singing in blues bands. I was in the Blues Society, started up an original band. I mean, we were supporting Richard Clapton, Mental as Anything, like big acts, Chocolate Starfish. And, it was a lot of playing, a lot of gigs, a lot of different styles of music. And eventually I moved back to Bellingen in the late 90s. Okay. With my children and first husband. And of course we started the Bellingen Singers, Songwriters, Musicians Society. And that was a great way to network with people and meet people in my hometown. And so then I started collaborating with other people and writing songs and doing shows, the Cool Creek Cafe and some other great venues. I started singing in a jazz band, Zoobop, and we played at a couple of Bellingen Jazz and Blues festivals, much to Mum's delight. She always wanted me to sing jazz, which I did. And so I was up there for a few years, and then moved back to Sydney after a marriage breakdown. Well, no wonder I write songs. We're all friends now. That's gone. That's gone. But we moved to Sydney, and I started meeting this amazing bunch of people and singing in a band, got together a band with Roy Payne, Paul Hayward, Dave Hibbert, and Mark Thompson, and put together a band called Kitty and the Alley Cats. I changed my identity for about 10 years, and I was Kitty Adams. It was crazy. Everyone in Newtown thinks I'm Kitty. But I had a great time and sang a lot of gigs around the inner west again. It was like I'd come home.
What sort of music was that?
It was country rockabilly. And it was great. I got to write some songs with the guys, and it was mainly covers, actually. And we had a good following, and it was just, I was one of the boys. I was one of the alley cats. It was good. It was good. I'll write a book one day, but used to get up to all sorts of shenanigans. But, they were a great band. Roy Payne on guitar and lap steel. Rest in peace, Mr. Big Daddy Roy. And Mark Thompson on pedal steel, and Paul Hayward on bass, and Dave Hibbert on drums. And we used to just really fire people up. And there was this venue called the Cooper's Arms, and they had one of those sound meters. And we'd be there on a Sunday afternoon, and it would flash green if everything was okay, and then orange. And then when it flashed red, that means the sound would get cut out. Yeah. And so our drummer would just keep drumming, and we'd wait for after about 10 seconds, it would kick back in again. We'd just keep playing. We were really rowdy. Oh, geez, it was good. Kitty and the Alley Cats. There's a live recording, and I'll do something with the live recording. But I've actually put up some videos on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and you'll see one of the songs. Every Day I Get the Blues. It's almost 3,000 views. So People have been watching. People have been going and having a look at them. It's like, oh, wow.
That's so good. Well, after we're finished with the interview, I'm going to actually put all your links in the comments. So we'll put up links for those as well. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen those. So I'm looking forward to going and have a look myself.
I was a lot younger, like 2004. So, yeah, since then, I had a little bit of a break. I studied childcare and worked in long daycare centres and then ran my own family daycare business for a few years, and then I was working as a nanny, and then I started getting itchy feet again because I was still writing music, and I approached Brendan Gallagher and recorded my first solo album, Belingen Says Goodnight, with him in 2014. Yeah, about my hometown of Belingen.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, so in 2016, so I've just grabbed the reins, Kel-Anne.
No, it's about you. I want you to tell us.
Like, I'm on the horse. All right.
I'm learning tips that I didn't know, Kylie. So keep going. I'm loving this.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're on the horse. Actually, one of the songs on Belingen Says Goodnight is called Ride Your Horse Again. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 2016, I recorded Sweet Dreams Till Morning with Gary Brown. And then in 2017, I recorded Little Stone with Lindsay Waddington on Crosscut Records. And then the latest one, Light as a Feather, I recorded in last year and released this year, produced by Michael Carpenter. So I suddenly went into this flurry of getting my music down on, professionally recorded. A lot of songs that I'd written, which have received a lot of airplay. Some of them have won awards, and which sort of got me out to the country music festivals and various festivals singing. And it was a bit of a boost, which is, lots of adventures. I've been meeting some amazing people in regional Australia and bumping into people like you at festivals like the Jererbong Country Music Campout. Hello, Kel-Anne. But just, I've been writing songs that have actually really affected people, like Montevideo Maru 1942, which I was invited to perform at Rabaul, in Rabaul Harbour, at the Australian War Memorial, and it's about the sinking of the Montevideo Maru. So, music is a very powerful thing.
It is, and that's led you to a few different adventures doing that. What was your connection with that? There's a family connection with that, isn't there?
Right. So my grandfather, Harry Adams, he was one of the prisoners of war who died on the Montevideo Maru. And the Montevideo Maru was a prisoner of war ship.
Oh.
And on the 23rd of January, the Japanese invaded Rabaul, and they took 1,053 prisoners of war. They were civilians, they were soldiers, they were shopkeepers, they were the local Salvation Army band, and they took them a prisoner of war. And there's a lot of history there, and I will send you the link to that. On the 22nd of June in 1942, those prisoners of war embarked onto the Montevideo Maru ship and set sail on their way to Henan in China. But on the 1st of July 1942, an American Sturgeon submarine spotted the ship, and it was an unmarked ship, and fired 2 torpedoes and sunk the ship, apparently in 11 minutes. And it was just terribly tragic.
Yes.
But the even more tragic is that the relatives and loved ones, women and children who had been evacuated to Australia, the civilian men were not allowed to go. They had to stay in Papua New Guinea. They didn't know what had happened to their loved ones until a few years after the war. And people are still now finding out about it. Like, it was a bit of a kept secret there for a little while. So, you know, one of the biggest maritime tragedies, and people still don't know about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Wow.
well worth having a look at. I'm a member of the Papua New Guinea Association of Australia, and we have a lot of really good events and memorial events, and bringing other descendants together, I think is really important.
And I'm so glad that we're all being made aware of it, because I mean, you know, it's just another example of how war does not serve any purpose whatsoever.
No, that's right. And there's been many books written about it,
Okay.
which is terrific. Really, really good books. So well worth checking out and having a look at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. So your grandmother didn't know what happened to your grandfather, I suppose, for all that time.
No. But she actually went back to Papua New Guinea because my grandfather and family, they used to run plantations there. They lived there for 28 years before the war.
Wow.
And so she went back, and my auntie and uncle and family, they went back and ran plantations there up until pretty much independence. So there's a very strong connection to Papua New Guinea for me. And I just really loved it when I went there as part of the tour in 2017 with other descendants to mark the 75th anniversary. And I loved it. I loved it. It was really hot, but I really loved the people. And there's so many beautiful frangipanis and the volcanoes and the landscape and the harbour. It's just magic. And the people, the Tolai people, oh, they're just the most beautiful people. We had this convoy of vans. Everywhere we went, hello, so see us, you know, smiles and just, they're special.
That's beautiful. That would have been such an emotional trip.
Oh, yeah. I still can't believe I went, and I want to go back. And they have a Frangipani festival every September. So I think next year that's on the cards. I want to see that firewalking, you know. I want to see how they do that. But they have big parades coming down the street. It's a celebration. It's a happy time over there. So I'd like to balance things out. I've seen the war history. I've grieved. But next time I go back, I want to party. I want to have a really good time with them.
Celebrate
I'm
the
going to
life
do it, Kel-Anne. I'm going to do it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the photos on Facebook.
Yeah. She's underneath the frangipani tree. She's just had too much of a good time.
Knowing you'd be underneath the tree playing your guitar and singing.
I took my guitar with me in 2017, which meant that we missed the plane on the way back because they couldn't find it.
Oh, no.
But anyway, it was good to have it over there. I needed it because I was performing my song at the service. But it also meant every morning they had a little market in front of the hotel, Rebel Hotel, where we stayed. And everywhere we went, suddenly they'd set up a little market, you know, and every morning they'd be there with their little carvings and necklaces. And there was a lady from the Highlands, and she had this blonde wig, and she was a really old lady. And I sat down with them and played my guitar and sang country songs, and she sang along with me. She knew every song. She was like, you know, the Papua New Guinea version of Dolly Parton. It was just hilarious. And they were just so much fun. And every morning I bought something from them. I bought a necklace that morning, then I bought a little carving from someone else that morning, and just, you know, you just met some kids on the street and ate bananas, talked about the state of origin. It's like, it's classic. It's just amazing. I just really connected with the people and really connected with Rebel forever in my heart.
Yeah. You connect with people
wherever
you go. You connect with people wherever you go, Kylie. Honestly, I remember when we did, every time I've done a show with you, you know, we've done Belrose, we've done, you know, that's that one at the retirement village, and then Forbes. Have you done Mildura?
But
Did we do
no,
that?
but I was broadcasting from there when I was with Good Morning Country Radio.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there. I was dancing. I was there.
But wherever I've
making
seen
a fool
you,
of myself.
wherever I've seen you around people, you just love people and you love connecting. I mean, when we finished that show in Falls, we were, you know, it was a long day, and you know, you continued, I think, for hours after I went back to my motel, because you were staying there, I think, in your caravan, and you were still had the guitar, you had them all gathered around, everyone's having a sing along, which was just beautiful. But wherever you go, you connect with people. So that's just the beautiful nature that you have.
Oh, thank you. I love people. I'm a people person, and I was saying to my husband the last few years, it's been a lot of quiet times for me. I've been spending a lot of time by myself. And so when I do see people, I love people. I'm out. They've let me out, because we live on a semi-rural property where there's a view of 2 cows and birds. That's it. So when I go out, it's like, great, I can talk to people and chat and have fun and be around people. So get me out of here. No, I really love it here. It's very quiet.
You make up for lost time when you get out.
Oh, yeah. Look out.
So now you're still promoting your Light as a Feather album.
Oh, yes.
So is there a new single out at the moment?
There will be. My latest single, Memories of My Old Town, which reached number 5 on the charts and got a lot of radio airplay. Thank you, radio presenters. Thank you very much. The next single, The Willow Weeps for Me, is coming out on the 23rd of September. And that's a co-write with John Sears, a great lyricist. And he approached me actually out at Forbes, the Jeroboam Country Music Campout, and said, Kylie, I've got a few songs that you might want to have a look at. And so he came over to my campsite, and he only had red ink in his printer. So I went home with all these songs with red ink. And I thought, well, I'll come back to those, which I did. And it's a long story, isn't it? Sorry. So I put music with it. That's the next single coming out.
Fantastic. I like
from
the
my
name.
Light as a Feather album.
Well, we'll put the link to that too in the comments as well. So so not long away. So it's only a few weeks, 4 weeks or so.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lyric video with that as well, which has been produced by Michael Carpenter and friends, which looks pretty cool. And of course it'll be available. Well, it is available now. It's out on the album. The album's out. And I've got a few shows coming up where I have the opportunity to play my original music, which is always really nice. Shall I rattle them off? The shows? Yeah. Okay. Drum roll, please. So the next one is Kenthurst Fair. If you're in the Hills District on the 11th of September in Kenthurst, I'm singing a few songs as part of the day. Canterbury Country, Hank Williams, Patsy Cline night, that's coming up very soon, but that's going to be those covers, obviously. But that's another show where I'll be singing. And then a really big one is Urunga in the Park in Urunga, which is near Bellingen, which is my turf, my hometown, where the rivers come out to the sea. And they love my song, You're Younger in Urunga. So I've been invited back to perform that, because I've performed that there before, and they had the Holiday Coast boot scooters in uniform behind me while I was singing it.
Oh, how good.
Great stuff. So now they've got another line dancing troupe lined up for me this time. It's like, oh, look, there's line dancers behind me. So much fun.
That is good. Singing. I love it when that
Things
happens.
Just happen. So that'll be an opportunity to play songs about my hometown, near my hometown.
Yeah.
And Sunday Country coming up in October. There's also a fundraising event, but I'm about to I am working on a new project, totally new, and I think maybe you're one of the first to hear it. is that I
Whoa.
have a jazz residency coming very, very soon,
Back to
which
jazz.
is me going back, another cycle, me
Yes.
going back to singing jazz,
How good's that?
which means I get paid for singing, which I love, and I love jazz. And I think it'll be more jazz cabaret.
Ah, okay. Sounds
The
very
crooning,
interesting.
the crooning songs, the
Ooh.
crooning songs. Peggy Lee and Ella Fitzgerald, Dean Martin, Frank
Whoa.
Sinatra.
Oh,
Yeah, so
fantastic.
yeah, there will be more news coming soon.
Okay. So, oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And you have done radio in the past. I
Yes.
know you're not on radio at the moment, but have you got plans to do more radio down the track?
I do have plans down the track. I'm having a break from radio at the moment because um, I want to get through a lot of projects um, with my voice and singing, and someone once told me once, they said, you're on a two-horse race, and one of those races you're going to win, but you're on a two-horse race at the moment. And I thought one of those has got to go. So, yep, giving radio I missed for a little while, but I started in radio in 1983 because of Mum, 2 Triple BFM, and I used to co-host a show with my sister, and we'd walk up after school in our school uniforms. So that was my start to radio, and since then I did a little bit of experience with Triple J, ABC, and Radio Northern Beaches. Did some work with them, did a show there, and it's quite a few actually that I've done. But most recently was national radio on the Community Radio Network with country folk around Australia every Sunday morning, and it would go out around Australia. And then Good Morning Country every Thursday morning, and that would go out to lots of different stations around Australia. So I had a couple of 100,000 people tuned in. So I'd have to be awake in the morning. Good morning, you're listening to Good Morning Country right around Australia on the Community Radio Network. Here's a bit of Sling Dusty. But yeah, I loved it because we had this album giveaway, and they still do. Good Morning Country is 5 till 9, 5 days a week. Make sure you tune in. Kevin Walsh, Georgie Cadwallader, and a new host, actually. They've got a new host who's very good. But they do this album giveaway, and so we would have to answer the phone. Sometimes I would speak to 100 people in one morning. Good morning, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Blah, blah, blah. And since leaving Good Morning Country, I've kind of really missed all those characters that I knew. I'd talk to them every week. Oh, it's so-and-so from Bombala. Oh, it's so-and-so from, Morwell or up there in Gin. People from all over Australia I talk to every Thursday morning. What an experience. What a great experience.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'm very, very blessed, very grateful to have had that experience. Yeah.
Well,
And we got to
community
we got
radio,
to
we don't get airplay. No, without community radio, country artists just don't get airplay. So,
well, that's
love
right. I
community
mean,
radio.
I was playing up to 50 new singles every fortnight or more. Like I was getting so many emails and from publicists and artists, and I made sure that most of them got airtime. And that's what I ended up doing. It's like, I know what it's like to release a single. I want to give these artists a platform. And so it was all Australian. I made sure that it was 4 hours of all Australian country music artists, and most of them got airplay. Great talent out there. So much music out there. Unbelievable.
More and more every year, isn't there?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. Great songwriting, great songcraft, good artist, and made a lot of good friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how we became friends. I think initially, it might have been through the radio rather than us performing together. I think we actually met through radio first.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So down the track, you're having a break from that at the moment. You got the jazz thing happening. Anything else in the pipeline at all? Any other,
Well,
what's your vision for the future? Where you want to head, you know?
well, between you and me and the fence post, and the poor fence post gets all these little secrets from me. Between you and me and the fence post, I've actually in the middle of doing some TV extra acting work. But I'm not going to tell you what it is, but
fun.
I love it. I love it. So I would really love to do more extra work for television and film. So I've been doing acting classes. What's coming up is the venue that I'm about to have a residency in is going to do well. I'm working with a guy who's so positive. It's so nice to be around a really positive person. He says, you just wait till this opens. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's going to come. So I'm just going to sit with that for a few years and I'm going to make a whole heap of friends and I'm going to have a really good time. And in the meantime, I'm going to write more songs. I'm a songwriter. You know, if I get asked to tour somewhere at a festival, I'll go, you know. But I've pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed the last few years. And now it's like, actually, I'm quite happy where I am at the moment. And things are just, they're happening automatically and by themselves.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I think it's like being on this boogie board and riding the waves, but the wrong way. And now it's like, hey, you know what? That big wave's coming and I'm ready. I'm ready to take that wave. Yep, I've got this. I've got this. all those years singing in bands and recording and meeting all those people and radio. And I'm now in a place and an age. And isn't it beautiful when you get older, you feel you don't need to have to prove yourself as much anymore?
Exactly.
You know, it's like, actually, no, I'm quite happy with the way things are going with thank you very much. And I'm
We
here
evolve.
if you need me. But in the meantime, I'm actually quite busy, so you call me.
Yeah.
So hang on, that big wave's coming, and I'm just going to be riding that wave, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so excited how all this has come about. So I don't want to say too much, but yeah, in the next couple of months, it's just going to be great.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and
looking forward to hearing more about it.
Yes, you will.
But we'll put all the links up in the comments, so that everyone can find out more about you by going to your website, going to the YouTube channel, and any other links that you can think of. I'll put in the comments for you so people can find out more.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really
good. It's so good. So good chatting. I'm going to get you to stay on, but we're going to say goodbye in a minute to our viewers. But yeah, I've just loved it, Kylie. I've learned so much more about you than I knew.
I kept it clean. I mean,
you did. You behaved yourself beautifully.
Look, I think the most important thing in life is to be yourself.
Yeah.
And I felt really comfortable about being myself with you today, Kel-Anne. So
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
I'm so glad. Before we do say goodbye to the viewers, is there anything that you haven't achieved yet that you would like to achieve? Have you got something that's you're not working on at the moment and just sort of not in the near future, but it's just something you haven't done and you'd like to achieve one day?
This is what my husband and I would like to achieve. We would like to own our own house, and we will. And it's going to be by a lake, and it's going to be great. So buy my albums, and that will help us a lot.
Well, I'm with you on that one, Kylie.
Actually, what I would really love to achieve as well? There's a whole list of them. This is another one, is to have my songs published and to be recognised. That would really make me very happy, and to make a lot of music and money out of music. But I already said that, so I'd pop that one in again. But yeah, that would be great. It would be really good. Publisher, film, television.
Yeah.
To be paid to be a songwriter would be nice.
Yeah. Well, I wish that for you. I hope
Thank
that
you.
all those things come true. You deserve it, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll say goodbye
But
to
you
all
know,
yeah, go on.
okay, the last thing I'm going to say, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm blessed.
Oh, beautiful.
Very grateful for everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's been wonderful
And
chatting. We'll say, did you want to say something else before we say goodbye to the viewers?
no.
You sure?
Yeah. I mean, you know me. It's like I could just talk all day, so I'm going to
2
zip
hours
it.
later.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kylie. And we'll say goodbye to all the viewers now. And thank you for watching the Tell Me More show. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.